And when I talk about the matrix, it primarily applies to men because men are the backbone of the slave force. We always have been and always will be. And unfortunately now, if you're a law-abiding man inside the matrix, your future and the life that is laid out for you is nothing but depressing. You're going to go to school, you're going to get in debt, you're going to get a job, you're going to get a wife, divorce is coming, you're going to lose the house eventually, your job's shit, inflation's outpacing your wages, you're going to work, no one's going to appreciate it, now you're old and your life's over. That is the matrix for 99% of men, and you need to find a way to escape it.
Totally new partial going into the idea that we could still run the 39.76 and a quarter. It's low. All right, so now watch how this next candle should be popping lower. Five handles, folks. I know it sounds like that's not sexy, ICT. I'm going to do 100 handles like you do. I started like this. I started just like this. Small little incremental moves. And they build. And you start seeing more 5 handle moves. And then they become 10. And there you go. Screenshot that. Another cherry pick. Picking cherries, real time. Be sure to tip your waitress. I'll be here all week. And that's it. You'd move to the sidelines and you're done. You had several handles offered to you in tape reading, outlined it real time with you, walked you through it, every single individual candle. Okay. No yin and yang symbols needed. Okay. None of the nonsense. It's real time algorithmic price delivery. That's all it is. Now, this is a sloppy day. This is very, very hard. On a difficulty scale of 1 to 100, we're at like 90. It's very hard to read this right now for me. So if I'm telling you this is hard and you can't really see the benefit of anything in price action right now, you're okay. That's fine. That's how you should feel about it. All right. Now you want to take your attention to the low at 830. We don't want to see that range that was identified by me moments ago, the 932 candle, that fair value gap. We don't want to see that return to now. We want to treat that as a breakaway gap. And now, because we're well below the, what is this here? The 840 low on your 1 minute chart, you want to see it expand down to the rejection block, which is the closing price at the 830 candle. And that's going to be way different for US 500. And just for you guys, just use the low of 830. Okay. But for ES, the specific level is 39.67 and a quarter. We want to see it reach below that. And that would be another partial. 80% of your trade should be off at that point. I know some of you are not listening and you're in trades right now and you're flipping out because you're making money and you can't handle it. I told you not to do it. It's worse than crack. Not that I have experience with crack, but yeah. Oh, what I see, T. All right, as soon as it cracks 39.67 and a quarter, you want to have that screenshot. You should have it typed out already on your chart. 80% comes off below that line. And then when you screen capture it, it'll be in your screen capture as it happens. And it's just really nice to have that on the weekend, looking back saying, I watched this live. I watched it really pan out right there. It was really happening in front of me. This stuff works. It's crazy. You know, it gets boring that after a while. I get excited because I see all of you get, energized by it. Oops, there's that luck again. Now, your wick for ES traders, you want to take your Fibonacci and measure an anchor from the low on the 830 candle up to the closing price. That comes to 39.60 and 3/4. You want to have a line on your chart at that price. 39.60 and 3/4. You would take a partial below that. and then let the rest run and see if it can take out the low at 39.54 even, or whatever your low is in US 500. Oh, it's so much different when you're doing it live, ICT. Haters are flipping out right now. He'll never do this. Yeah, wait till you see what I'm doing the rest of this year. It's closing time. Ain't nobody selling mentorships this year. Now think about what sweet spot you would be in right now. You've had two partials going long, you got stopped out with the bounce, no big deal. We waited for 9:30. We waited for it to indicate what it wanted to do. We watched a very specific level. Does it act as a balanced price range? And it gave us our signature. Then we saw another imbalance and a shift in market structure where I showed you the line where it went below it. I mapped out where the imbalance would be. If it traded up into that, they would be using it as an entry that was on the candle at 9:34. Okay. One of the things that you're going to have to learn to just submit to is the process of time being in a trade. It's altogether something different. Like when you watch my recordings and I'm executing, it's entertaining. It's great. Sometimes I use great music. Sometimes it's probably not your genre. It's fine. It's just for me, not for you. But that element of watching how fast it goes to the targets and where I'm peeling off profit partials, that unfortunately can trick you into thinking that that's how fast it should feel for you in a trade. And that was one of the worst growing pains for me as a trader, because being in a profitable trade and I haven't taken anything out, that feels like forever if I'm just holding for my terminus target, my ultimate target. In this case would be the low of the day at 8:30. This point here, we're trading at a level where 80% of the trade's already off, hypothetically. So you're in profit 80%. It doesn't matter. Okay, listen, write this down in your journal. It does not even matter if 8:30's low is taken out or not. See, that transaction is about being right. Right is not profitable. Profitable is profitable. So we're looking for ways to take things out of the marketplace where it makes sense to do so, where there is liquidity, where there's a reason for the market to be repriced to. What's the basis for price even going to these levels? That's what I walked you through this morning. That was the narrative. You're not seeing that with other people out there. You're just seeing them show you results on an MT4, or they're doing lots of trades and going to full max loss and not using stop losses. So there is a degree of mastery that you will grow into, but you start here and you do this for weeks and months. And then you learn how you're going to interpret price. How has it felt for you to watch this? Well, as it was melting down, respecting the levels I'm calling out and showing you very minute candles, telling you what it should do, what it should not do. How did that feel watching that? Did you feel anxious? Did you feel comforted because I'm talking about it? Did you want to fade it? I guarantee you trolls are out there trying to do the opposite because they were hoping I was doing it wrong. So they can go, look what ICT did today, but I did the opposite. You got your ass wrecked today. But feelings watching this real time, you have to really pay attention to that. In your journal, you should be doing the most of that today. So after we close our session, you want to go to your journal while it's fresh in your mind. What did you feel? And be honest with yourself. This is the moment where you have to be honest with the observations of you as a trader, feeling what it felt like to watch the price deliver algorithmically, not retail logic. Nothing in this is retail. There was nothing in here from Chris Laurie, nothing supply and demand, nothing Elliott Wave, nothing like that. Nothing harmonic. It's just simple algorithmic time and price. You want to screenshot this right now. There you go. So now you would only have less than 10%, maybe 10% of your original position short from 934. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's been 16 minutes and you made more than you earned in your job's weekly salary if you've been working with one contract. Now, I'm taking a great deal of liberty because most people don't make that much money in the United States. And I know some of you are probably doing some high dollar stuff, but you should be 90% out of your trade. And at a point where the stop would roll to, I would hypothetically have my stop at 39.72.5. Why that? Because it's just above the fair value gap that's formed at the 944 candle. So it would be above that. And if it comes back and stops me, that's fine. I wouldn't want to be in it any longer. So many people falling in love today. I don't know where this guy came from, but I love him. I love him. Oh, I got so much stuff this year. You have no idea where I'm taking you this year. I'm actually falling in love with live streaming. Might start doing it every day. Shut everybody down. Do it, ICT. Do it. All right, now think about what you feel right now. If you had 90% off on your trade, 90% off, how would you feel about that retracement so far? You don't give a shit because you're banked 90% and you're not basing your trading on the transaction of being right or wrong. Right or wrong has no basis for profitability. None, has absolutely nothing to do with it. Now, draw out your rectangle on the candle at 944. You're going to go to the 943 candles low, drag it to the 945 candles high. Okay, and then drag that out in time. I'm watching that level there. It should not go above that. If it does, we're done for the morning. So I would roll my stop to come on, this thing. I'm holding the phone in my hand and I'm trying to drag my finger across my laptops. I don't have a mouse on this end because I use everything on a laptop in case someone hacks or tries to do something while I'm connected to the accounts that I don't trade with my live account. Everything through TradingView. When I'm sharing it with you, it's all through a laptop. I would have my stop at 39.69.5. So if it went there, I'd be content with being knocked out there and it's fine. I don't care. And you shouldn't care either if you were in a trade, but I would want to see it, drop lower from here because we already had that candle return back to that fair value gap. I just mapped out for you at 951. And you want to have 100% of your trade off if it goes below the 830 low, and don't care how much it goes beyond that. You don't care because all of your fear, anxiety, performance issues are all going to come initially with being right or wrong. And I'm trying to train you not to think like that. Okay. Don't think that way. You got to find a way to get in here, find a position to go in that has a measurable risk that's palatable for you. What does that mean? Can you take that trade? Can you afford to be in that trade based on the amount of movement that it could potentially put you through? And some trades are not going to be feasible for some of you. There's some trades that I won't even take because it doesn't make sense to do it. I'll just wait for something else. All the liquidity resting below that low right now is flashing like a neon sign. Come down here. I want to sell to you. I'll sell it to you below the low at 830 at 39.54. Below there's real orders below that. Now you want to take that up candle at 951. Okay, at 951, I'm watching the middle of that candle. That's mean threshold. In my mind, I'm watching that thinking, I don't want to see price go above that. I want to see everything that it prints. I want to see it stay below the middle of that candle. We'll just call it roughly 39.63 even. I'm not rolling my stop to that. I'm just watching it. Does it want to go back to that and throw it? If it does, if it trades like through 39.63, then I would at that point save my stop loss and close the trade and be content with it and not worrying about whether I got right or wrong about going below that low. But as long as it stays below that 951 candles middle point, then I would look at this as it's still likely to take out the sell side liquidity below 830's low, and I'd be content with holding it. But a run through, like it tries to run through 39.63 or the middle of the 951 time candle on a 1 minute chart, you're watching it. If it were to do that, then I would collapse the trade and save my stop loss and not worry about anything and just go home. Not regret if it just tanks. It could drop to 3,900 even after that. That's it. I would close the trade right there. I would collapse it. And I would not care at all whether it goes to hell or if it rips higher, where do I stop? Because I wouldn't be in the market now. I'd be done. Now think. Take a moment for a second. I'm not going to say anything. I want you to just think about what you just watched. Was that real enough for you? Was that real enough for you? Every single candle, every single one of them, outlining why it should do this or that, what it shouldn't do. If it was hard for you to follow along, I know it'll be easier when you're watching me with a chart. But understand that everything that I do is perfectly calculated. There's a measurement behind everything I'm doing. There's a process. Okay. There's no safety net out here. I don't know how many people are listening to me and how many people are going to watch this later on, but I can't edit this and I can't paint those candles on your chart. That happens from the market. But you just had the entire morning session outlined to you. What I would do, what I would not want to see happen, how I would engage, where my stop loss would be, where would my partials be. It's exactly what you watch me execute on through TradingView with live data. That's not cherry picked. As much as these assholes want it to be, it's not. And I'm going to be breaking all kinds of hearts all year long. I hope you're here for it. I hope you're here for it because I have such amazing shit to share with you all for free. No mentorship, so no join my bullshit. Okay, here's my stop loss. Get ready to get the hit. And if it does, you'll see me say to you, this is why I would have done it. And I would be thankful that I've done what? Saved the stop, kept more of the profit, and not worry about it. It returned right back up into that fair value gap I gave at the 944. Done. Right there. That would be it. I'd be done. If I would have had the stop loss, I would have been stopped out there and gave up profit. Now, if you know with logic when you're likely to get stopped out and still be able to bank open profits still that are not realized yet, doesn't it make sense for you to say, okay, well, why would I just let it stop me out? That's experience. That's somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing. Okay. And there's no other way about it. Now you can look at what I'm doing today. Anybody else would have done this. They'd be out there parading it on social media, beating their chest. I'm just telling you, use some fucking common sense, folks. If I don't know what I'm talking about, it would not be like this. Okay. It wouldn't be like this. So if you've been on the fence about, oh, does he really know how to do this? Or do these concepts really work? Or can you time the market? Can you read price? Can you do this? Can you do that? Man, if this doesn't communicate it to you, nothing will. My live streams won't. It just means that you aren't prepared to learn. That's it. Or you're a competitor and you're just hating life right now. And that's fine. That's okay. But I want you to know that there's a process that you're going to have to go through. And it's going to be longer than you want it to be. It's going to take you longer to get this because you have all this baggage you're bringing to it. Oh, but I heard this guy say about SMC concepts or ICT's a fraud. He used to deliver pizza. Fraud this. I can do this every fucking day, every single day. I can do it right in front of the CFTC. Yes, I can. I ain't worried about none of that shit. I ain't worried about none of it. If I couldn't do this, I sure as hell wouldn't be out here doing it. I wouldn't be inviting you all to watch me fall on my face. Think, if I didn't know for certain that I knew what these candlesticks were going to do likely next before they do it, you think I would be out here doing this? Hell no. Nobody would. Nobody would. But everything else in the retail version of trading has perfect excuses when their trade fails. Oh, well, my harmonic shark, my bat, this and that and the other thing didn't work today. Okay, whatever. I don't have any of that shit to worry about. I'm looking for where the orders are. What time is it? What's it likely to reach for? When will it likely fail? That's it. There's 4 things that you need to know with me, okay? 4. Are we going up or down? What's the bias, okay? Are we going up or down? If we're going up, we're only going to go up to take out an old high, or we're going to go up into an imbalance that it left a fair value gap above market price. That is it. That's it. Flip it now. If it's going down, it's going to go below an old low, or it's going to go down below market price to a fair value gap where there's an inefficiency. Now think about that. Isn't that fucking easy compared to which harmonic pattern are you going to look for? The Elliott wave count. Come on. That shit's subjective. It's subjective. Your low on your chart is not gyrating and moving around and morphing into something else. It's there. It's sitting there. And time is marching forward continuously. We know that there's going to be a great deal of excitement in the marketplace to do certain things at the opening price or opening range at 9:30 and at 8:30 when news drivers come out. And you have to be able to frame a narrative, which is kind of like what I fleshed out with you. That's the hard part. That comes with experience. I cannot, listen to me, okay? And if you're all waiting for my books, just know this before you even or start chomping at the bit to buy it. I'm not going to be able to take 3 decades of experience and being able to map out narrative based on real-time data, looking at 1-minute charts. I can't find a way to do this easy for you to just read a paragraph or a chapter, and this is how you do it. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing this year with you live. Because only by seeing it done, outlining what I'm looking for, what factors am I mentioning. Anything that I did not mention has no fucking basis on anything today. Unless I talked about it, there was no reach for me to do it. There's no need for me to talk about any of the other things that you think I should be talking about. Trader's Trinity. What about the Judas swing? And how about the Asian range? And how many standard deviations? Forget all that. I didn't use any of that for what I just did. I just read price. That's all I did. Very simple inefficiencies, draws on liquidity, time. That's it. That's it. Now, is that not easy? I'm not saying it's easy for you to replicate what I just did. I'm not saying that. But what I just showed you, is that not easy compared to everything else that you probably looked at and dabbled in? There's all kinds of supposed bullshit that makes us money. Indicators. What indicator did you see me use here? The open, high, low, and close. And the clock. What time is it? I only talked about rectangles being on the chart to identify it with you real time so that way you can see it visually in your chart. Does this price respect that level? Does it gyrate and reach to the level I'm talking about next? And you have to feel what it feels like to watch it do that. Because it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be, oh, I'm in the trade, so it better deliver fast because I'm uncomfortable. The market doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you money. You're not supposed to be able to do this, folks. As much as it feels like this is the playground for everybody to join and have fun. It's all membership. We just got to pay our dues to the broker and we can all get rich. That's not how this works, man. That's not how this works. This is hard. It's war. It is war. Because you're battling not only yourself, because you're going to talk yourself out of going out in that battlefield every day, unless you know how to do this. And how do you know how to do it? You go through the process that's boring. You read price without pushing a button. And you think to yourself, okay, if I were in a trade right now, where would the risk be? Where would my profit potential be? Where's my partials going to be? You have to know them before they go there. Otherwise, you're doing what? You're reacting. You'll chase price with no real reason for being in it. And then any small little fluctuation. Every time we had a small little retracement, did you hear me freak out? No. But when it was potentially going to reverse, I gave you a mindset that, okay, if it does this, then I would collapse the trade and save my stop loss. Real boring, monotone ICT. Not amped up, not heart palpitations and heavy breathing and fast. Oh, I hope. You hear me say anytime, I hope it doesn't turn around. Please don't turn on me. Please don't wreck me. That's a sign and a testimony of somebody that has no idea what the fuck they're doing. And if that bothers you, if that offends you, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm trying to shake you by the lapels and tell you, listen, okay, you have 1 year left with me. 1 year. I'm not going to do this again. If you've been on the fence with trying to learn what it is I teach, or taught rather, and what I teach presently, all you have to do is show up. It cost you nothing but the time to be here this morning. But I guarantee you, nobody else on live streams did what you just saw me do. Nobody told you what was going to happen, why it was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and how it was going to do it. And I did not learn this from Chris Laurie. I did not learn this from Larry Williams. I did not learn this from anybody else out there. And that's not beating my chest. I'm just telling you for the last fucking time, there is nobody that taught me this. I am of the character that, hey, if they did, I'd say that person taught me. Linda Raschke. Okay. She's on Twitter. She doesn't have a big following. She should have a bigger following. She was a mentor to me. She gave me the foundational points about understanding where stops are. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. And she was the very person and trader that pit me against my original mentor, Larry Williams, because Larry Williams said, there is no them against you. Though those guys got us guys. They stopped us out. Motherfucker, listen, I love you, Larry. I do. I love you to death. But you're wrong. You're wrong. And Linda Raschke was the one that I read in her Street Smarts books, or Street Smart book, rather. Her and Larry Connors wrote that book. If you don't have that book, you should get it. Okay. I don't get a kickback. She don't even know me, probably. Bottom line is that book has these little snapshot setups. Okay. That a new trader can find. I found it very useful because it gave me a snapshot of what it is I should be looking for. You know, a single low stop hunt or a double low. You know, those things can be hunted. Well, even in her book, she's not targeting that. But when I saw that, I'm thinking to myself, well, fuck, if I'm getting stopped out, there's somebody who can see that. Now I can see it as a potential bullseye. Well, I'm going to be the archer. I'm going to shoot that shit. And then once I adopt that mindset, everything started to unfold, like the veil lifted. I'm like, oh shit. I'm looking for entry patterns when I'm supposed to be looking for where's the market going to go for and why should it go there? It's going to hurt somebody. This market, you think it's your best friend. Oh, I love the market. This market is a cruel lover. And if you don't give it everything, oh, you think a scorned woman has no measure in terms of wrath. This shit will end you. You have to give it everything, all your attention, even on days that the markets aren't moving. You have to do that because it demands it. Lazy asses are not going to be able to survive in this marketplaces, especially now. This is hard market conditions. You see these jokers out there talking to you. Oh, well, you know, it's so easy. I'm smashing. I'm killing it. I'm making $300,000 a day. Raphael Palmdale. I may have his name wrong, but don't get me wrong. I think that's his name. This guy's making $1 million every week. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. These markets are absolutely aggressive. They're choppy. They're very, very uncertain at times. And even for someone like me, that I think I'm above average in terms of being able to read price and trade. I believe that. And I think I communicated enough to show that I'm not average. I'm having a difficult time reading this. Usually it's like cakewalk. I turn the chart on, bang, it's there. It's easy. It's not like that, folks. I demand a whole lot of things now to get me in, like I showed you this morning. Whereas before, we have cleaner markets. It's just real easy. Get in there and bang, bang. And we'll have that. You'll see that this year. And you'll see me get my ass handed to me when I'm wrong. It's going to happen. Okay. I'm going to be out there. I'm actually going to pick days where I have a tendency for that to happen. And you'll hear me go into it. I'll explain it to you. This is a day that's difficult. I'm going to force myself to view it in front of you so you can see how I get it wrong. I took 2 trades yesterday and I lost on both of them. They're small. I knew that the day was characteristic of me losing. So you saw me do one single contract. That's what it looks like. If I'm looking for something that I'm trying to capitalize on, and the market's not predisposed to deliver like I want it to, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get stopped out. Later on in the day, I smashed it on NASDAQ, killed it, murdered it the last hour, murdered it. So those losses meant nothing. Now, to you, as a new student, new trader in development, never been in the marketplace before, first time listening to someone like me, I probably sound like a nutcase, and that's fine. That's good. If you're a trader, you already have a few screws loose anyway, because nobody in their right fucking mind would want to do this. But guess what? You're going to be thankful you did. You are going to be so fucking thankful that you did, because if you learn how to do this, there ain't a job out there that pays like this. You can't find a job that pays like this, Ken. And you write your own checks, but it also takes from you, and you need to be able to know what it feels like to lose occasionally and know that, okay, it ain't going to hurt me long term. It took something from me today, but I'm not done. And that's how you want to be able to think about it. But right now, as a new trader, you're not thinking that at all. You're thinking, I got to avoid losing money. I got to be able to avoid taking a loss. I got to only do it when it's right. Because you're thinking like maybe I'm the guy, or there's somebody that's, if it's not me, it's somebody else that's going to be creeping out of the woodwork. They know how to trade without ever taking a loss. I will take losses if I trade in the environments that I know that's likely to create it. And I told you, when I do get a loss, I'll show you. For fuck's sake, you saw 2 of them yesterday. But I'm not in here trying to trade in environments where it's dicey, 50-50. Not every consolidation is an accumulation phase. It's not. It's just fucking chop. It's time distortion. That's what you're experiencing. The algorithm is just marking time. That's it. It's not doing anything. It's waiting. Then it will move. But you can't time that when it enters those phases. You have to wait. And then the market will show you its hand in a time-based chart, not a range chart, not anything other than a time-based chart. If anybody sits down and tells you that they're going to show you something algorithmic and they're doing anything outside of a time-based chart, turn them the fuck off. They're full of shit, because they're going to show you a 50-50 hit rate. They're going to get stopped out many times in their trades. They're not going to be accurate, and they're going to be praying while they're doing their live streams and saying, I hope I'm not getting wrecked. You're never going to hear me talk that way. That's never going to happen. I know what I'm looking for. It's black and white, period. End of story. If it's a gray area, I'm not fucking touching it. That's what experience, with the real experience, the real knowledge, a real algorithmic perspective on price action. That's what you get. Not 20 fucking trades, hoping they all pay out, over leveraging when you lose, just so you can come back at the end of the day and made $4,000. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But I'm here for it. Oh, I'm here for it. And I hope you're here for it too. I want you to know that I have some amazing shit to share with you this year. And I promise you, if you show up every day, even if you don't like this part of the stuff, the rants and stuff, you're going to need these. You're going to need them when you feel like you can't grind on, and the days I'm not going to be live streaming, you're going to want to listen to this shit, because it'll keep you fired up. It'll make you remember, oh yeah, this stuff does work, but temporarily, while I'm learning, I'm going to not know what I should be doing, and I'm going to study and expect certain things in price action. And it's not going to happen. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be profitable in the future. It means that I have to defer those expectations right now while I'm learning. And that, my friends, is the reality check that all of you need to have. So look at your chart right now, because I'm about to close it. I timed how it was likely to not go down below the low, and I said, this is where my stop would be protected. I'm not going to let it take my stop. What caused me to think that? Look at your 1 minute candle at 9:45. You see that low? Draw a little line segment from that low to the right. I'm doing it as I tell you, so that way I know I'm doing it right. And then the low at 9:50, draw a little line segment to the right from that one. And now you'll see at the 9:54 low, how many times did it make a new low? 3 times. Okay. So at 9:45, that low was pierced and traded through to the downside on the 9:49 candle. See that? Then it created the short-term low at 9:50. Traded back up to the fair value gap I mapped out for you. And then that low formed at 9:50 was pierced on 9:53. And then at 9:54, I was already giving indications to you. Go back and listen. It's there. Can't edit it. I said, okay, now I'm going to watch and see if that middle of that candle, of what candle? That up candle at 9:51. I said, my eye is watching the middle of that candle. I don't want to see that candle, that midpoint, which is mean threshold. I don't want to see that traded through. If it trades up through that, I'm going to save my stop and hypothetically close it, and it wouldn't get my stop loss. And I don't give a shit if it goes down below and runs out to 830 low. Remember me saying that? You'll hear it in the recording when it's done. I don't post these anywhere. And there's a lot of you out there that are taking them and put them on your YouTube channel, and I don't give a shit. Do what you want with them. But once they're like, when I'm done, this is being recorded. You can play the recording for, I don't know how long it does last on Twitter, but trust me, it's people are making archives of these things, and that's fine. I don't care what they do with them really. But that candle at 9:51, I mentioned that my eye was focused there because we were approaching 10 o'clock. And 10 o'clock, between 9:50 and 10:10, in that 20-minute range, there's a macro that unfolds. Okay, a macro is a short list of instructions that the algorithm will go fire through. And if it's not going to run through the low that we outlined at 8:30, then what is it going to do? It's going to retrace. One of two things, folks. So how do I protect myself if I'm in a hypothetical short position? I've already made a disclosure publicly where my stop would have been. If I see that up close candle midpoint get breached like it does on the 9:55 candle, this is what you should, everything I'm saying, don't just listen to me. You need to be taking this information and annotating it on your chart. Otherwise, it's just a static chart. It shows, oh, I was there, I watched them do that. That's useless. That's fucking waste of time. You got to take what I'm saying to you here, because you're all going to ask me 2 weeks down the road, how do you know when to save your stop loss? How do you know when to collapse the trade and just close it? I'm showing you right here. But you're not going to do the work of annotating your chart, journaling it, and putting it in there, because that requires what? Effort. And some of you are just fucking lazy. And I have students that paid me that are fucking lazy, and they cry and they say, I can't do this and I can't do that. You have to do these things. It takes work. Look how long we've been together this morning. That's time invested watching something that you didn't make money with, except for the people that didn't short it. I got my eye on you. That mean threshold of the middle of that candle at 9:51, if it pierced that like it does at 9:55, it's not going to run the stops, because we had 3 passes lower. 1, 2, 3. And we're entering that 9:50 to 10:10 time window. So the macro will do what? It'll start spooling price north, reversing it back into a point of imbalance or stops. So there were stops above 936 high. And then our original fair value gap that we were watching as a balanced price range, it returned all the way back up into that. Notice that? So you want to put a notation that there's buy side resting right above the 927 high. Watch that one going forward, and then watch the high of the day. If we run the high of the day, 40.30 and 40.38 and 3/4 is my objective on the upside. As long as we don't run those before the last hour of trading, I'll look for reasons to see if there's a justification for that. I'm not saying there is one now, because a lot can change between now and 3 o'clock. But I would look to do that type of trade unless it just completely goes up there or completely collapses. Now, notice that that's a scenario. That's not a plan A, plan B. Look, I'm right. I'm giving you ideas about what I would look for the PM session. That's what I prefer to see. And I also told you what would negate that. Okay. I'm not going to draw on a chart, scribble line up to this level and scribble down to that level. Okay. And then wait for that to come back. And then one of those things pan out. And then they say, look at this. But if you look at the chart, it did all kinds of things, like a heart attack between that point of where you thought it was going to go, or upside on the downside. You would have been stopped out and they didn't execute on anything. So what benefit is that? Well, how can you learn from that? Nobody's learning shit from that. So that's why I don't do that. I execute using the logic that I teach. When I just show a static chart, I have people bitching to me, oh, it's hindsight. And then when I actually trade the chart using the logic I'm teaching, oh, what's the purpose of seeing this over and over and over again? Are you just bragging? You're just beating your cherry pick trades? And, you need to lose that train of thought. Put that shit aside. If you're here to learn, stop all that bullshit and just sit down and take notes and watch and listen to what I'm saying, because everything I'm bloviating about is what the logic is that I'm using to do it. If there's no real logic behind it, it won't work. But you see it working over and over. How many fucking days in a row now has it been? Remember I was supposed to start on February 7th? I've been with you since day one. Day one. Every single week, every single day, and it won't stop. Every day there's a run on liquidity. Every single day. All you have to do is identify that based on time. You'll find your 5 handles there, and you don't need to have your full target reached. Don't listen to these clowns that say you got to have a multiple of 20 or R. You got to have 3 to 1. You don't need to have 3 to 1. You don't. If you know what you're looking for, you can make money with 1 to 1 risk, and you'll get lots of those setups over and over and over again. I can smash these 20R, 100R traders and do it with just 1 to 1 ratios, because I can get 50 trades in a day on a 15-second chart and level them using the same thing I taught you in 2022 on YouTube. That model exists on the 15-second chart and the 30-second chart dozens of times in a day. That's what high frequency algorithms are taking advantage of, those minor little fluctuations, because they're pushing volume through that big volume, jamming it in, boom, 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 boom. And all I'm doing is looking when those instances are likely to be unfolding. Then I know I'm on side. Their orders are not pushing the price higher and lower. The algorithm's going to go to that price whether there's enough trades behind it or not. And that's what you don't understand. And that's what I get. I've been trading for 50 years. This guy's full of shit. Well, come out here and do it like I just did. Map it out every minute, every fucking minute candle, every single minute candle. You explain why it's going to do what it's going to do. No, you're not going to be able to do that. This is where you start. And at the end of the year, you're going to be seeing evidence with me and in your own. Phenomenal precision. Fucking off the charts precision. Shit that repeats over and over and over again. And nothing is stopping you from learning this except for you. That's it. Nothing's stopping you. What's it going to be an impediment? Time? You can watch the shit later on. It's still going to be the same lesson. What's the difference if you watch a recording of me doing it live? You didn't make it there. You couldn't see it because you're running a business. You're going to school. You can't be up. You got to go to work. Okay. Watch the recordings, because it's better than market replay on TradingView, which is stilted. It's like you don't see the candles continuously painting. Okay. You can't appreciate the delivery of price the same way, but you'll watch my recording of that and you'll be able to have that same experience, just like you were there. And those same videos, you'll be able to go back to and re-watch them and study it over and over again. Listen to what I'm saying at the time I'm saying it, what I shouldn't see, what I should see, what you should be feeling right now about why price is doing this or doing that. That is experience, folks. You can't get that from a book. There's no way I'm parroting what I'm hearing somebody else say right now, but you're going to hear everybody else parrot what I'm going to say. I want you to do well. I want you to fucking be so successful and happy you made this decision. I'm doing everything I possibly can except for putting you in the fucking trades, and I'm not going to do that. The apt pupil, spending weeks and months with me throughout this year, you're going to start seeing them without me mentioning it. And when you make money, whose credit is it? Yours. But when you make a mistake and you do something you're not supposed to do, who owns that? You. Some of you are still at that stage right now where you still want it to be able to be my fault if you fail. It's never my fault. It's never my fault. I've never told you to push a button to get into a trade. and I didn't distract you from the study time that you should have put in. So it's on you. I'm making it. It's a tongue twister. It is never been as accessible as it's going to be this year. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to love me. You don't have to congratulate me. And I'm turning the comment section off because I'm tired of seeing the love fest. Okay, it's sickening. It's sickening. I appreciate it. I love it, but I don't want that. To have those comment sections open on my YouTube videos looks like I want that, and it's praise. I don't want it. Don't call me king. Don't call me the GOAT. Don't call me the greatest of all times. None of that shit. I'm Michael. I'm ICT. That's it. The ghost in the machine. I'm what makes this shit move around, and I'm going to prove it to you this year. I'm going to call every single fucking minute candle right in front of you, and I'm going to outline every single thing. Why it should do this and why it shouldn't do that. And I'm also going to tell you when my algorithm will not perform like it should because there's other things going on. There's a hand behind this that you won't see. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to peel back that veil and say, this is where they're going to be doing shit that you don't want to be participating in. And that's one of them today. CPI. You can't be in there. You can't. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to wreck you. And it can take a whole, I mean, this was a kind of like a little bit of a muted CPI performance today. Like I was expecting a whole lot more. And it's really kind of boring, actually. It's kind of like what non-farm payroll used to be for us in the 90s. And it moved around a lot. We don't have that much. I mean, last Friday was amazing. That was awesome. Went way beyond what I thought I was going to do. But generally, they're not like that. It's like a little bit of flurry of something, and then it just dissipates. This is not, it's not showing me much at all right now. And I would prefer to close the charts, which is what I'm going to invite you to do the same thing. Close your charts and start looking at it around 2 o'clock, 2:30, and then watch and see what liquidity pools, what short-term high on a 5 and a 15-minute chart, what short-term highs and lows exist in price, looking back to the left between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Okay. Look for that. And whichever one of those that you see, start studying which one it gravitates towards. Which liquidity pool is it going to reach for? That happens every single day. Every day. And all you got to do is look for a small little fair value gap to work within. And your eye should jump right to it. And see, what you're thinking is, oh, how do I trust the fair value gap? I can see it, but I'm afraid if I get in there, it's going to keep going against me. That's part of trading. That's why you have to have a stop loss. If I knew for certain that it wasn't going to go above a certain high, and there was no way that I could be wrong about it, I wouldn't trade without stop loss. I would full margin every trade with no stop loss. Who the fuck wouldn't do that? But because we can't know that, why? Because there's a hand in this industry that will make a move sometimes when nobody expects it. So you have to protect yourself. They call it the flash crashes. They're not flash crashes. They're all engineered. And people fall victim as the scapegoat is why it happened. That's not how that works, folks. But you'll eat it up and believe it because it's a perfect excuse to, oh, that's why it happened. Okay, business as usual. Let's go along. Just understand that you're not supposed to make money with this. You're not. It was not designed for you to be a participant in it. You are the cattle. You are the sheep that these books and educators that regurgitate the nonsense that comes out of them, they're the Judas goat that you follow right into the slaughterhouse, and you don't even realize it. You never stop to think about the logic that you're learning is the very shit that puts you in that situation. So if you turn it upside down, think about it backwards. Because if that crowd keeps doing the same shit all the time and 90% club loses, doesn't it make sense? I mean, think about it. I wish I would have seen this sooner as a new student in trading and listening to these fucking people I wasted time and money on buying their horse shit. I wish I would have just reversed everything they said and faded everything. I would have been 90% club right away. It's produced for misinformation. And nobody can say that you didn't see this shit unfold like it did. I outlined it. I told you why it should do this, why it shouldn't do this on the smallest time frame that most of you can do on a 1 minute chart. Goldman Sachs alumni are on video. You can still see it on YouTube. If anybody tells you they can time the market and trade with intraday charts, I promise you, they're a con man. Run away from them. Really? Really? That's fucking awesome, because you just made me a superstar. By default, you just made me a superstar. All I got to do is keep doing what I'm doing. And you're Goldman Sachs. You're the guys that are supposed to know this shit, but you don't know anything. You know nothing about price. Listen, folks, the professionals that you think are professional and they have all the answers and shit, they don't. It's the people out here that are kicking fucking ass, doing it in the charts, making liars out of all the other bullshit that's out there. That's the mavericks you want to listen to. The people that can get out there and literally roll their sleeves up and say, fuck the bullshit. This is what really goes on. Watch me roll. That's how you determine who's who. I have no problem with someone teaching with a hindsight chart. I've done it for a long, long time. It's beneficial. You need to start somewhere. I have no problem with someone teaching in a demo account. Nope, I have no problem with that. Because if the logic is sound, then you'll be able to know if there's sound logic. But the problem is in this culture today, everywhere, globally, you are fucking lazy and you expect everything given to you for free. Like I'm obligated, and everybody else that's wanting to teach something is obligated to cater to you. You got to wake up and realize the world isn't like that. You have to roll your sleeves up and do some work. And sometimes it's going to take longer than you want to. And that's okay. That's a good fucking thing, because when you get through it, you're going to feel, like I did it. I feel good. I got through this shit. Now I know exactly what the hell I'm doing. No one can take that from you. You earned that shit. You didn't purchase it. You fucking earned it. When people join my mentorship, guess what? That didn't obligate me to fucking make you perfect. It meant that you now are a part of a crew that has to work their fucking ass off. And guess what? If you didn't do what you're told to do and you fell, get your ass up off the ground and start working harder. Look around, folks. People are fucking making real money. Okay? Not demo dollars, not market replay horse shit and reporting at the end of the day, this is what I would have made. Fuck that shit. How much are you putting in the bank? How much are you fucking spending? How much did your fucking broker give you this month? That's the language you need to start talking about. Market replay reports, fuck that bullshit. We're past all that. You have to know how to do this, folks. Your bills don't get paid with hindsight, cherry-picked bullshit market replay trades. It doesn't work that way. And you can get encouraged in the beginning. That's fine. But you got to gravitate to what the real shit is. What makes these markets really move? And you can get tricked into thinking you know something that you really don't before you think you know it. There's a whole lot of balancing act that goes along with becoming a trader. And you don't even realize what those things are yet. You have no idea what it feels like to have 10 winning trades in a row. You're going to feel like you figured it all out. I don't need any more study. Shit, I know how to do this. Let me get my live count started. Worst thing you could ever done. I'm glad I lost money on my very first live trade. I'm glad it lost 50% because that woke me the fuck up. Oh shit, this takes me a lot more effort and time. I thought I figured this out. I read through a book, 100 pages. I figured, shit, I got this figured out now. No. I had no idea what I was doing. 1992 was a year of awakening for me. I thought I was up to snuff just by reading one poorly written book. And the worst thing you can do is watch my videos one time and think you're ready, because you're not. You have to put yourself in front of the charts like I forced you, and put your nose right in the charts and said, look at this. Look at this right here. This is what you're supposed to be focusing on. Nothing else. Not the previous day's high and low. Not a breaker over here. What's this commitment traders report? I took you right to the heart of the matter right now. And for some of you, it's probably difficult to follow along. And others are like, this is fucking great. This is exactly what I've been waiting for. Yes, that's the crowd I'm preaching to this year, because you've done the work and you're just waiting for that next threshold to breach. Some of you that are brand new, it's still going to be challenging for you. I'm aware of that. And you should be identifying that, preparing yourself for it. Just because I'm going to be in front of you with a live chart does not mean it's all going to be, oh, I figured it out. I know how to do it now. It takes time doing it. And when I'm not doing it, you need to be doing it. And you need to love doing it. It needs to be almost like meditation for you to sit and observe and watch price paint. Because your brain will identify things that are reoccurring over and over and over again. I don't know if your eye for the fair value gap is your model. I don't know that. You might see breakers as your pattern. You might see optimal trade entries, order blocks. That might be the thing for you. Turtle soup sells, turtle soup longs. Institutional order flow entry drill. I have lots of tools to get me into a move. I'm never going to be short on a way to get into a move. When I know the move's there, I'm getting in it. And to the untrained eye, when you look at my trades, if I show just the little arrows, oh, you're chasing price. Get the fuck out of here. You don't even know what you're talking about. I'm going to get in here and show you every single week examples of what a neophyte would say is chasing price. But you're going to know at the end of the year how that is horseshit. There's 100% measurable risk in that. You'll know why it shouldn't do certain. Like you watch me today. It should not do this. It should not go beyond this. It's like I'm walking this shit on its leash. And you still doubt me. It doesn't matter. It does not matter who believes what you're learning is real or not. All it matters is, does it benefit you? Are you learning? Because if that's all that you focus on right now and you grow and you're understanding each day and you're seeing it work, you're seeing proof of it, folks. This is not after the fact horseshit. This stuff happens every day. It's a beautiful opportunity for you to have a laboratory experiment for yourself to observe what price is doing. And you log that. And the best advice I can give you and investment that you can make in yourself is to get a screen recording process for you. So even if you're not in the markets live, like if you're at school or if you're running a business or you're working, or if anything that prevents you from watching price action in the London session and in the New York session, in the afternoon PM session for equities, then you should record. And honestly, even if you can do it live, watch it. You should record it every day. Just let it run for 2 hours in the morning and let it run for, an hour and a half in the evening, 3 o'clock to, 4:15 or whatever. Record that. Show a 1 and 5 minute chart side by side. It's a small little investment. Okay. Like $100 and some. I think I use Camtasia from techsmith.com. Techsmith.com. I use Camtasia as a recording program. I love it. I've used it for a long time when I first started doing videos for folks on Baby Pips years ago, 2012. It's an easy process to record it. You can edit everything and zoom into certain areas that you think are useful for you, and then record that. Do a descriptive title to it so that when you know what you recorded, the date, the time, the market you were doing, and what your focus about that was, and then log that. That's better than a trade journal. That's the best fucking journal. Because in that chart, in that recording, you're going to have your own annotations and you can watch it. You can literally watch it. Upload it to your own personal YouTube channel and watch it right in the living room or your family room or wherever, if you're on the go. If you're sitting in my son's having surgery Friday and I have to have something to distract me while I'm waiting for him to come out. Well, this would be something like if you had something uncomfortable, you're waiting into motor vehicles, waiting for some bullshit number to be called because you have to be waited on something. You're waiting for your oil change. You can watch it on your phone and you can hear your own annotations being spoken and watch the price action. So you're not wasting time sitting around watching Netflix and fucking off. You're constantly pouring this into yourself. You're investing in yourself. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. You got 1 year to do all the right things. Because let me tell you something. If you don't know what's going on right now, just take a look and step back and look around. Shit's getting real expensive. Things are getting hard to get. Food's getting really stupid. And it's going to get worse. And I'm going to have a clean conscience at the end of this year. I've done everything I humanly possibly can to improve the likelihood of you doing better than the average person. Because the average person is going to be suffering. They're going to be suffering in the next 12 months. It's going to get real hard. And that's all I'm going to say here now. But you need to prepare yourself. Make sure you have a secondary income or complete replacement of, because your job may be redundant. There's nothing guaranteeing that your job's going to be there tomorrow, next week, 6 months from now. I have so many students that have come to me and say, I was working, I thought I was doing really great, and they just sacked me. Said I'm redundant, they can't use me anymore. What the hell? Yeah. Are you prepared for that? Are you fucking prepared for that? Most people aren't. You're walking around like a zombie thinking, okay, well, it's the same thing I do every single day. Go to work, I do the same thing, I get paid at the end of the week or every 2 weeks. And you think that they need you. They don't fucking need you. They don't need you. They need you right now. Like I need some fucking lunch because I'm starving. But I don't want you thinking that you're irreplaceable, because they don't need to replace you. They can just get rid of you and save the money. And companies are going to start doing that aggressively right now, because there's a turning point that we're going to enter, and it's going to be uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable even for people like me that have money. Having money in the bank is not protection, but there is no alternative. Cash is going away, and you need to preserve what you can, build what you can, and procure as much as you can in terms of resources, things for your home, and make your house ready as best you can, because we're going to enter some real tough shit, and I don't have the answers, and I don't want to be criticized for not doing at least this much. I don't think it's outside the realm of reasonable, given how the Lord's blessed me, and I made a deal and I'm doing it. I'm living up to my end of the bargain. If you open my eyes up to this, I would spend the rest of my life teaching, and I am. But I'm doing more than I ever did, ever, this year. I'm sitting with you in live data, something I swore I would never do. Because I know some of you that are running signal services or mentorships or whatever, you're going to be listening to what I'm saying. And I'm in your headphones, and you're going to try very hard to keep up and say whatever I'm saying. So your viewers that don't know me think that you're smart. That's okay. I don't care. This year, you can take advantage of me. I don't care. I don't care that the people are taking my spaces and putting up there on their YouTube channels and monetizing it. I don't care. I'm not going to put a takedown notice against that. I don't care. My focus is right in front of me. It's you. All I'm trying to do is help you. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not trying to have a worshiper, a new cult member. I don't want any of that kind of shit. I just want you to understand that I don't have to do this, and just appreciate the fact that I'm willing to do it. And your currency is paying attention, earnestly paying attention, taking notes, and doing the best you can to keep up. That's all. There's no rush. All the things I'm producing are not going to be deleted on my channel. I'm not going to take down the mentorship videos. I'm not going to delete any of it. Nothing is coming down. And it's increasing. The volume in the library is going to increase. There's no need for you to worry. But you have to show up. If you skip a day, watch the recordings, listen to the recordings. Keep it in you constantly. It's only 1 year, folks. 1 year. And I promise you the transformation at the end of this year, you're going to feel so glad you put yourself through it. But you're going to have periods where this is too much. Or I've had enough. I don't like this guy's personality. He cusses too much. Well, I'm sorry. I wish I couldn't. I wish I had a better way of controlling my tongue. But when I get angry or passionate or just, worked up, like I'm hyped up, I know what some of you are going to be able to do. You just seen a young man make $250,000 last year. $250,000. How many of you fucking clowns that talk shit about me made $250,000 last year? Hello. That's the real shit there. So I don't know. Who you want to listen to? Somebody that's making that, and students that really put the work in. He earned that shit. I didn't tell him what trades to get into. All on his own. Carved out a niche, and now, if he comes up with a course to show you how he did it, and this is the method that he did, and how he got funded, and how he worked with the fund accounts and companies that do that, in my opinion, that shit would sell like hotcakes. And all of you have the same opportunity. He did all I asked for. If I had a small part in it, just give me a nod, say thank you, and that's it. And I'll lift you up. I'll lift you up. I'll put a spotlight right on you. Boom, there you go. You earned that shit. You did it. There was no communication privately. Nobody, oh, ICT traded for him. I got a guy literally send me a fucking email and said, you traded his accounts for him and this is all marketing. Are you out of your fucking mind? Seriously? That young man did that on his own. To be quite honest with you, I didn't know him from Adam until that interview where he did like $28,000 withdrawal. I was impressed with just that. Then I'm looking at his Twitter and he says he's done $250,000. And I'm like, what the hell? How did I miss this guy? Why didn't you all tell me about him? Come on. So, but I have lots of students that are private like that. They don't want to be out there. And I know some of you young guys do. And that's great, but you're still going to get trolled. People are going to be upset because you're doing something they can't do. Their service can't live up to. Their results are nowhere near. And guess what? Smile and wave. Smile and wave and relish in all of it because that's success. Because you're going to have people always biting at your ass when you're doing it well, better than anybody else. But guess what? The view never changes when you're in the lead. It's always the same opportunity of new money. Always. It's the same way. But for them, it never changes because they're always looking at what you've done and not what they can do. You're in their way. Think about that. If they're hating on you, they know that you're going to do well. They're trying to distract you from doing this. Think, folks. There are some stupid asses out there that are just trying to make a name for themselves when they talk about me, whatever I do, my students. They're clowns, okay? But there are real people out there, and they're going to see more of them this year because as I'm doing this, this is becoming mainstream. It's accessible to all of you. And you're going to see campaigns to smear me, what I've done, what you are going to do, what you're learning. All that is going to be meant to distract you. Keep your focus on what I'm teaching you. Everything else is horseshit. Everything else. Can anybody take you and pull you to the side and say, you didn't watch me outline this morning? Nobody can do that now. Nobody can take that experience away from you. And you all that had doubted me would have had that experience if you just would have did the work yourself. And that's why I'm doing it this year. I'm removing any doubt. No confusion. It's still going to require a lot of work and effort. But you're not going to have an out where, oh, it's cherry picked. Oh, it's hindsight. He never shows us this. He never shows us that. I've never seen any mentor ever explain every single 1 minute candle before it happens and why it should happen. I've never seen that. You're going to have more people doing it now because I'm teaching you. And my students will be able to do that same skill set. And I'm loving it. I want to see it. I want to subscribe to your channel. I want to support you. There's nothing wrong with that. I've never been against people using what I've taught and making a name for themselves. I just don't like when they teach my shit, rename it, and give no credit to it. Because the Lord himself gave me this. And if that makes you choke because you believe in something other than what I believe in, I'm not apologizing. On that note, hope you found it insightful. Hope you found it helpful in the sense that you know where you're going, which direction we're going to take this community this year.